Hi everyone, welcome. FPLMattDay here, and this is the first look at the FPL 23 to 24 season first draft for game week 1. And you're probably all tuning in wondering, why do I have a first draft? The game hasn't been released yet. But, we've got some of these great tools like FPL Team, Live FPL, these types of tools. They can help you pick, potential draft teams. If you're just on the preseason like me and you just really, really want an FPL fix. So I've created a squad for the first day of the season. Bear in mind, these are just predicted prices from the FPL team app and website. These aren't all set in stone. The game is expected to be released in the first week of July. So we're not that far away. We're about a week and a couple of days away from the time of this recording until we find out what our teams and squads and our player prices are gonna look like. So this is just my thoughts on an initial first draft, because we know the fixtures from game weeks 1 to 38. We don't know when they're all going to be. Obviously there's things like TV, cup games, all that type of stuff that get in the way. So we don't know when they're actually going to be, but we know what they look like for the season, and we know the bare bones of what the template might look like for the first 6 weeks. So bear in mind, this team I'm about to reveal and show you, it's just all based on predictions. We could end up having more in the bank, less in the bank. We just don't know. And also, players in this team, they may end up leaving the club as well that they currently play for. And there's plenty of players to join the league as well. If you are new here and you're about to watch this team, please subscribe to the channel so you do not miss an upload next season and throughout the whole pre-season. Please give the video a like and get any comments in with any thoughts, questions, tips for the new season, anything you think needs to be changed about the game, that might be changed about the game, any signings to look out for, and your thoughts on my team as well. But look, it's great to be back doing some FPL content for everyone. So I'm going to share the screen. Let's bring up the transfer planner from FPL Team. This is a really, really good tool. So here it is, game week 1 goalkeeper for the 23 to 24 season. It's Aaron Ramsdale. He's been a brilliant goalkeeper for us in FPL. In an Arsenal shirt over the last couple of years, was outstanding in the 21 to 22 season, and last season in the 22 to 23 season, some big points, especially in that first half of the season when Arsenal were keeping a lot of clean sheets. Arsenal's early fixtures are really good on paper. They finished second last season. They probably got the best fixture on early on in terms of the informed teams from last year. They were the teams that did well. And to have Nottingham Forest first up, that's a good game for Arsenal to have first. And I think get him between the sticks. Predicted price on here is 5 million. Could be about 5.5, I think, next season, in my opinion. But if he comes in at 5 million, I think he's got to be the number one. So let's go to the defense that I've picked. Again, this is all based on predictions, that type of stuff. But just looking at it now from what we know from last season, going into next year, these are the 4 defenders I like the look of early on. So John Stones on the far side transitioned into that midfield role at times. Of Pep last season was brilliant. I think he will be one of the first names on that team sheet for a lot of us. Man City have great early fixtures. The Burnley away game could be a banana skin, but it's not like the old Sean Dyche Burnley days. This company team is looking to probably play some fresher football than that. So, it's going to be an interesting game. First up, it is the first game, early deadline. John Stones will be a popular pick with Man City's early form, and obviously they are the treble winners and Premier League holders. Trent Alexander-Arnold, we've seen what he's done in an England shirt in the last week. We saw his form pick up at the end of last season. We're expecting him to be potentially in a midfield role next year, classified as a defender. He will become a captain option next season, in my opinion. First up, Chelsea away is tough, but game week 2, he has Bournemouth at home. Then Estupiñán, another big success from last season. Luton home in the first game. Brighton have some great fixtures, so keep an eye out for Brighton. We saw how good they were last season under De Zerbi. They are going to be in Europe this year, so it could be a little more difficult with Brighton assets. But in that first 5, 6, 7 game weeks, when the European games aren't on, that's the time to thrive and get the points. I think he's a good pick. Luton first. Then on the far side, Luke Shaw really hit some good points towards the end of last season in that second half of the season post-World Cup. Wolves home, Not sure how Wolves are going to do this season. I think that's a great first fixture up for Man United. Away at Spurs in the second week, but in the third game week, home to Bournemouth. So Man United defender like Luke Shaw could be a really good early pick. So let's go into my midfield, and that is a midfield 4 as well. And you will notice an absence of Salah. And that's because I've done this based on the predicted points this squad, the predicted prices this squad of what they think the prices are going to be. And I couldn't fit Salah in. I know other drafts have got him in, and they might not have used the budget and have just put him in because we don't know what the prices are going to be. I wanted to try and do my team based on a £100 million budget and as realistic as I could. So I've gone with the midfield of Rashford, just mentioned with United, great fixtures early on, home to Wolves, really nice fixture. Rashford showed in the second half of the season what he can do, especially at Old Trafford, scored a lot of big goals. And then I've got Saka there, home to Forest. Look, the captain's armband on him there for game week 1. But again, that's just, I think it's just auto-picked on him, which I don't mind. Good fixture at home to Forest, shown some good form for England recently. Obviously, he'll go away now on his own holiday and back to pre-season with Arsenal. But good fixture early on for him. He'll want to end up having another really strong season like he did last year. He'll want to beat it. He'll want to get more goals, more assists this year. Then alongside him, another success story from last season, Mitoma, home to Luton, newly promoted team. Again, you're expecting him to come out and have an even bigger season, score more goals, improve even more on what we saw last season. And Brighton have good early fixtures too. So definitely a side to keep an eye out for at least a double up on Brighton players. Then on the far side, this man had a brilliant end to the season. It's Eze. He's up away against newly promoted Sheffield United first. Some pretty good fixtures by the looks of it as well for Palace. But he's someone that I think is going to really kick on this year. And we could see him maybe hit that 10 goal sort of Premier League mark, I reckon. I reckon Eze is going to be a really good player for this Premier League season. It's going to be almost not necessarily a breakout year because we've seen how good he can be, but a breakout year in the fact of I think he'll become a more vital FPL asset. So that's the midfield. Let's go to the forwards. No surprises with one of them. Haaland, 36 goals was it last season? It was a ridiculous amount of goals. He's going to be on everyone's team. There's no doubt about it. What will his price be? We're not sure. We don't know. They've predicted 14 million here. I think they could be about right there. I don't think they can go 13 and a half. I think that's still too cheap. I think 14 is the only way that maybe isn't going to price people out, but it might stop people on a game week where, we get intel that he's not going to play. It might stop people then making some quick moves out for him for a week, or even changing their captain where they need to. It's going to have to do something because his goals and how pivotal having Haaland as your captain last season was. So Haaland is in there. And then Mbeumo is going to be a popular choice, I think. I've seen him in a lot of drafts. Home to Spurs first up, but then they've got some good games afterwards. The reason he's in a lot of drafts is because Tony is banned until January. So we're all expecting Mbeumo to be the main man for Brentford, who are a good side. They attack, they like to score goals. And he could then be on pens. So he could end up being a real bargain for our teams. So let's go to my bench. And in goal, Kelleher, he's been another popular pick. And the reason for this is we're all expecting him to leave Liverpool and become a number 1 goalkeeper at another Premier League club. Some of us thought it was going to be Spurs. Doesn't look like it is now with their signing of Vicario. He could end up in the Championship. You never know. At Leicester is where he's been linked, but you'd think he'd probably end up somewhere in the Premier League. Maybe Everton if Pickford does leave. So he'd be a good number 2 keeper if he stays at 4 million. But if he gets a number 1 spot elsewhere, FPL might bump him up to 4.5 mil. And then the other players I've got there, defender Basham for Sheffield United, cheap and cheerful, may get minutes. Early on, it's all about just having that cheap bench because you can activate a wild card in that first half of the season. And then midfield, Dienma from Luton, another bit of a trickster in midfield, cheap and cheerful. And then on the far side, the veteran, the goal scorer, Billy Sharp. It's always nice just to have him there on your FPL bench. Might come off the bench, grab a goal, grab a pen. You just never know with Billy Sharp. So there you have it. That is my full team, my first draft, my first thoughts. Does it have an expected points? No. They're all called trialists. So when you input these players in, you just literally swap in blank players for these guys because we don't have the team from last year. It's effectively a bunch of trialists in this team. It's a draft squad. It's a trial squad. But there it is. That's the full squad there on screen. That's the lineup. So we'll zoom in here for the actual lineup. And then this is the subs. And here is the full squad. So a 4-4-2 early on. Again, things will change. We'll get transfers, player reveals, player prices. Fixtures might change, injuries, everything like that. But this is just my thoughts on my favourite first draft for game week 1. So there you have it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is there anyone you've got your eyes on this early? I know we don't have the price reveals just yet, but let me know in the comments. Please hit that like button, subscribe if you're new here, and get your comments in about that team and any thoughts ahead of the 23 to 24 FPL season. So I'll leave you there. Stay tuned on the channel. Plenty of shorts to come. Plenty of content all the way until game week 1. I will be over in England for game week 1 this year. So I'm going to be live for the first 3 game weeks in the England and European time zone. So I can't wait for it. I'll be at Fantasy Football Fest as well. So if you've got this far into the video and you're going to be at Fantasy Football Fest, let me know in the comments and come and say hello. I'm flying from Australia to England to be there for that. So I'll leave you there. I'm FPLMattDay, and I will see you all in the next one. And I think the next one is probably going to be with all of the price reveals as well. Bye for now.